Rocky Mountains, the backbone of a continent. Massive, imposing, seemingly changeless. And yet, within this formidable landscape, there is delicacy, serenity, and above all, the diverse, insistent rhythm of life. Within the splendor of the Rockies, there are two jewels that shine with special luster. On the Canadian border, in the northwest corner of Montana, lies Glacier National Park. Within its vast expanse, covering more than 1 million acres, Glacier provides a wilderness experience that equals any in the United States. To the south, in the northwest corner of Wyoming, lies Grand Teton National Park, the home of some of the most ruggedly majestic mountains in America, the Tetons. Rising abruptly from the valley called Jackson Hole to the east, the Teton Range seems to epitomize the grandeur and power that human beings ascribe to great mountains. Once seen, the jagged spires linger in the mind like images from a timeless legend or fairy tale. Though there are higher peaks elsewhere in the Rocky Mountains, the Tetons are perhaps the most dramatic because there are no foothills below them. Rising directly from the valley floor at an elevation of 6,000 feet, they soar more than 7,000 feet higher into the sky. The geology of the Tetons helps explain their dramatic profile. In terms of geologic time, these mountains are youngsters. While most of the Rocky Mountains are some 60 million years old, the Tetons formed during the last 10 million years. They are fault block mountains, the result of the movement of two rectangular blocks in the Earth's crust. The blocks moved periodically, like trapdoors, one block swinging toward the sky to form the mountains, the other hinging downward to create Jackson Hole. Throughout this process, the combined forces of wind, rain, ice, and glaciers eroded the rising mountains, sculpting them into the craggy magnificence seen today. These forces are still at work as nature's hand continues to etch new details into her masterpiece. The Teton Range and Jackson Hole are dotted with a series of lakes. Their basins were also formed by glacial forces. The still, crystalline surfaces of the lakes mirror the mountains, reflecting and enlarging their scale and impact. The central peaks of the range are South Teton, Middle Teton, Grand Teton, Mount Owen, and Tewinnot Mountain. It is this grouping that gives the mountains their most unforgettable profile. And at 13,770 feet, Grand Teton is the most imposing presence of all. Grand Teton is sometimes likened to the fabled Matterhorn in Switzerland. The shapes and elevations of each are remarkably similar, and both peaks have challenged skilled mountaineers for decades. Indeed, the Teton Range is a magnet for climbers of every skill level, from novice to master.
Well, all a figure eight is a friction device. It allows you to generate a lot of friction on the road. So
Jack Turner has been a climbing guide in the Tetons for 30 years.
In the Tetons, you're either going up or you're going down. There's nothing level about them. And they're very alpine-like mountains. We have ice climbs here, we have snow climbs here, we have rock climbs here. In many other climbing areas in the United States, for instance, like Rainier is mostly just snow, or Yosemite is mostly just rock. But the Tetons are a great range for mixed ice, snow, and rock climbing. Very alpine range. I not only climb the mountains, but I try to study the wildlife and the plant life, and it's my home. All right, we want to get this technique down because it's easy here on these slabs. When we go up above, you're going to be rappelling off a vertical cliff. In fact, it's more than vertical. Your feet aren't going to touch anything. You're going to be out in midair. And you're going to be dangling. And that's not the time to try to figure out how to do this. So you learn it now, right?
But won't you just slide straight down?
I like teaching people to climb because it allows them to confront their fears, allows them to overcome their fears. It teaches them confidence. It teaches them that they can do more than they think that they can do. And I think that it gets them into beautiful places and teaches them about nature. All of those things I think are very valuable for people to have.
Oh, jeez. It's okay, Michelle, you're doing great. That a girl! Ah! You look like Tinkerbell at Disneyland. Never. I never thought I would do something like this. Absolutely not. I love it. It is spectacular. It is the greatest thrill because it's physical as well as mental. It takes so much concentration. So that's why it's the ultimate stimulation. It's every part of you. And then the natural beauty, the incredible vistas, spiritually, it's a high. So in every way, I must say, I think it's the ultimate experience I've had. Oh, you show off. Oh my God.
Whether you're scaling the peaks or hiking the trails, the park provides an opportunity to glimpse an astonishing variety of wildlife. Nearly 900 species of plants and 400 kinds of birds and mammals live in the park's 485 square mile area. At lower elevations, the pine forests are a seasonal home to the mule deer. Its long, mule-like ears constantly twitch back and forth, alert to any sound of danger. At higher elevations, the terrain becomes a mixture of forest and open slopes, providing both cover and grazing land for an assortment of animals. Winter is the dominant season in Teton country, lasting as long as 6 months in the valley and up to 9 months in the mountains. Though Teton's winters are harsh, some migratory birds choose to winter in Jackson Hole, escaping even more severe conditions to the north. One of these is the trumpeter swan. Though the park supports a summer nesting population, their numbers swell with the influx of temporary winter residents. The trumpeter swan is the largest waterfowl in North America. Like an avian jumbo jet that requires an extra long runway, trumpeters must get a running start to take flight. Not long after the snows melt, the hardy sagebrush buttercup and fritillary bloom, followed by a host of wildflowers that dot the valley, slopes, and then the high canyons. Though the mountains and canyons of the Teton Range are imposing, they are also surprisingly accessible, thanks to more than 200 miles of wilderness hiking trails throughout the park. A ranger-led hike along Cascade Canyon Trail is an especially popular outing for park visitors. Ranger Pat Jameson has been leading hiking groups for several years.
These are huckleberries. And if you're from New England, they look a lot like blueberry bushes. They're very closely related. This is a really good place in the fall or in a couple of weeks when they're ripe. If you want to see bears, this is where you're going to see them, in the berry patches. I'll tell you right now, bears really want to have nothing to do with you, and although I don't want to lower your self-esteem, you are absolutely worthless to a bear. You have no self-redeeming value whatsoever, unless, of course, who brought lunch? Okay? What do you have for lunch today?
Ham sandwiches.
Ham sandwiches are pretty good. Any peanut butter and jelly? That's always a good one. If you leave food out and the bears find it, you've just opened the deli section. And they're going to keep coming back. They may run into someone may get hurt, and eventually we'll probably have to destroy that bear. So if you keep your food to yourself, bears won't care that you're there. They'll wander by, but they won't bother you. You'll get to see them, they'll get to see you, and it won't be a problem.
Any access to human food, whether through intentional feeding or careless disposal of trash, creates a lethal situation for bears. The truth is that a fed bear is a dead bear. It is essential that human food never be available to bears. While there are a few grizzly bears in the remote northern section of the park, it is the black bear that is most commonly seen. Though it is the smallest of the two bear species in North America, an adult black bear can still weigh as much as 575 pounds. From the west shore of Jenny Lake, the Cascade Canyon Trail winds past the dramatic Hidden Falls on its way to the spectacular overlook at Inspiration Point.
Well, here we are at one of our talus slopes on our way up to Inspiration Point. And we do have rock slides and avalanches still in the area, and rocks fall down. This is a good home site for pikas and marmots. May not look like a great place, a jumble of rocks, but if you're a small animal, it's a good place to get away from predators like coyotes, hawks, weasels, and they're under these rocks. I like pikas and marmots. They have very different personalities. Marmots are, well, I like marmots because no matter how lazy I am, they are lazier. All they do is eat and sleep all summer long because they have to hibernate in the wintertime. And so you'll see them in the morning sunning out on the rocks, and they'll eat some stuff, and go back on the rocks and eat some more. When it gets hot like now, they're in the shade and they go on the rocks and then they go eat some more and then they go to sleep for the night. And they do this all summer, and in the wintertime they'll be hibernating. They can be in hibernation 7-8 months of the year. Some of these higher areas are under snow that long. The pikas are a little bit different. They are related to rabbits. They look like a little mouse without a tail, but they're related to rabbits, and they don't hibernate. They actually get me very tired because they're workaholics. They run around all summer long collecting grasses and pieces of bushes and stuff and storing them under rocks, under large ledges, so that they can get to them in the wintertime. They make haystacks. And when the snow covers the slope, they can run around in between the rocks and visit their haystacks, and that's how they make their living. We're going to head up the trail after this on the way up to Inspiration Point. Next stop is the top. What I really get out of this place, besides the beauty and the mountains and doing the things that people come here for, is the fact that I can show things to people that they probably wouldn't see otherwise. We have a lot of small animals, small plants in the park. People might walk by. I get to point them out to people, and they enjoy that. And it feels nice to know that without me, they would not be able to see those things.
Far below the breathtaking vistas of Inspiration Point lies a vastly different wilderness environment, the Sagebrush Flats. The complex soil in much of Jackson Hole limits the growth of plants to sagebrush, grasses, and a few tenacious wildflowers. But this sparse vegetation is still enough to support a surprising variety of wildlife. The pronghorn is often mistakenly called an antelope, but it is a species unto itself. The fastest land animal in the Western Hemisphere, the pronghorn is capable of speeds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Unlike most of nature's speedsters, however, the pronghorn can maintain its swift pace over long distances, thanks to a large heart and enormous lung capacity. Its huge eyes are positioned on the side of its head, giving the pronghorn exceptionally wide-angled vision. The pronghorn share the sagebrush flats with a small herd of bison. These shaggy creatures, weighing as much as 2,000 pounds, seem like a vestige of some prehistoric era. One of nature's cleverest predators lives among the grasses of these flatlands. Resourceful and adaptable, the coyote is both a scavenger and a skilled hunter, combining stealth and boldness as it pursues a diet that ranges from berries and bugs to the carcasses of deer and elk. In nature, wildlife gravitates to sources of water, and in Grand Teton National Park, water is plentiful. From the year-round blankets of snow on the lofty peaks to the numerous lakes and streams of the valley, and finally, in the meandering waters of the Snake River as they wind slowly south through the park, the waters of the Teton Range and Jackson Hole support a rich diversity of plants and animals. The park supports a moose population of some 300 animals. These stately vegetarians feed on willows, water lilies, and other aquatic vegetation. Remarkably, the moose sheds its impressive rack of antlers each winter, growing a new set in the spring that sometimes reach a breadth of 6 feet. Both the muskrat and river otter are protected from the cold waters by dense coats of glossy brown fur. Otters are among the most playful and amusing creatures in nature. The majestic bald eagle glides from its massive nests in the trees along the waterways of the valley in search of small mammals and its favorite prey, trout. A raft trip on the Snake River provides both a delightful excursion and a chance to observe numerous species of birds and mammals in their native habitat.
Okay, just right below the boat here, you can see a beaver lodge. There's a bundle of sticks that are interwoven together with mud packed in on the sides. That lodge is just coming into view between these alder bushes. The beaver is an animal that cannot hibernate, and it's because they have to chew on wood all year round. Not only do they chew on the cambium layer of the tree to get nutrition, but also the beaver's teeth will grow anywhere from 6 inches up to even 12 inches during the course of a year. And so the animal has to chew on wood on a year-round basis in order to keep its teeth ground short.
It was the beaver that first brought mountain men to Jackson Hole in the early 1800s. For centuries, Native American tribes had spent summers in the valley and revered the Tetons as the dwelling place of powerful spirits. But long winters and deep snow discouraged year-round habitation. During the winter of 1808, a trapper and explorer named John Coulter is believed to have been the first white man to enter Jackson Hole. Coulter had left the Lewis and Clark expedition to cut his own trail through the wilderness in pursuit of beaver. Coulter reported a plentiful beaver population in the shadows of the Teton Range. Word spread, and other trappers soon followed. In fact, it was these early explorers who gave both the valley and the mountains their distinctive names. Trappers commonly called any valley surrounded by mountains a hole, and French-speaking trappers called the mountains les trois tétons, meaning the 3 breasts. The trappers left the valley when the demand for beaver skins declined in the 1840s. In 1884, ranchers began coming to the valley to try their luck. But due to the long, cold winters and the poor quality of the soil, cattle ranching proved only marginally successful. Cattle ranches soon became dude ranches, catering to Easterners eager for a taste of the cowboy life. Though the ranching period was brief, it left an enduring imprint on the local culture.
He's going to show you how he did it right here. Lucky Fairbanks, 1989, Pro-Life champion from JHWO. He's on number 37 out of here.
Today, the economy of Jackson Hole continues to thrive on this image, preserving a frontier flavor that satisfies the appetite of visitors. There are probably more 10-gallon hats, boots, and spurs in contemporary Jackson than there ever were in the days of the Old West. Today's rodeos, roundups, and trail rides are rawhide replicas of a bygone era. It's ironic that it took so long for this magnificent wilderness to be incorporated into the national park system. It is only 7 miles south of America's first national park, Yellowstone. But early attempts to attach the Teton Range and Jackson Hole to Yellowstone proved unsuccessful. In 1926, when Yellowstone Superintendent Horace Albright brought financier John D. Rockefeller Jr. to Jackson Hole, much of the valley was still privately owned. In 1929, Congress set aside the scenic portion of the range as Teton National Park. In an attempt to protect more of this magnificent scenery, Rockefeller quietly bought up thousands of acres in the valley, intending to donate his land for an expanded park. When his intention became known, a bitter political battle ensued. It wasn't until 1950 that the Grand Teton National Park we know today, including Rockefeller's gift of more than 32,000 acres, was created by a second act of Congress. There is another chapter in the Grand Teton story, a chapter that contains an important lesson about the delicate relationship between human beings and the wilderness. In the early 1900s, the few ranchers willing to brave the winters of Jackson Hole began to fence more and more of the range. With the coming of winter, enormous elk herds, having summered in the mountain highlands, would migrate to the valley. But the fences cut the elk off from their traditional winter food and water supplies. They began to starve. Hundreds of animals died in a single season. Their plight aroused a national outcry. Finally, in 1912, a national elk refuge was created immediately adjacent to the park's southeastern border. Today, the refuge supports a winter population of more than 7,500 animals that are part of the largest elk herd in the world. Winter visitors to the refuge can learn about this wildlife story firsthand, thanks to sleigh rides that take them into the midst of the herd.
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the National Elk Refuge. My name's Jim Griffin. I'm an assistant refuge manager here at the refuge. We try to let this range pretty much carry itself and carry the elk during a good part of the winter. The elk are down here for 6 months each year during the winter, from November till May. And during that 6 months, about 4 months of an average winter, we actually don't feed at all. They'll get by just on the natural standing forage that's here. And then once winter sets in pretty heavy, you get a lot of snow, and you get icing conditions or wind-drifted snow where it's packed down. It's tough on the elk, and they really can't feed anymore, and you don't have enough range for that many elk. So if you don't start a supplemental feeding program, then you're going to get a lot more mortality. You'd have quite a bit of starvation in some years. So basically, the combination of range and the supplemental feeding helps us carry this large elk herd through in a healthy condition through the winter with very little mortality. Well, the bulls are sparring, actually part of a tension reliever with some of the bulls, but also, in a sense, they're just kind of playing around with each other. The sparring is a way that the bulls kind of test each other's strength. There's this hierarchy of bulls and a social, dominant and submissive interaction of the animals. And the young bulls like these two are playing around a little bit, but you'll notice one bull will push the other one until finally it'll back off and turn away and walk away. That one bull, was a little bit dominant over the other one, and the other one backed off. There's nothing too serious going on there, though, and even during the fall rutting season, it's rare that you ever find an animal get very seriously injured from the rutting. Mostly it's the dominant submissive interaction of the two animals. Elk are really adaptable creatures, and of course the winter weather here in Jackson gets rather severe at times. This is a mild day compared to some. The elk seem to survive real well, and some of their adaptations are that, of course, they'll lie against the snow, and their fur is so thick, and they also have a little downy fur underneath close to the skin, and so that helps insulate them. But if you take each hair shaft and look under a microscope of that hair, and each hair is like its own little downy sleeping bag. It's divided into little air chambers. That's a microscopic view of one hair. So you compound that, and that animal is like walking around with, thousands of down sleeping bags all over its body. So it's very well insulated against the weather and the temperature. And then when it lies against the snow, the insulating factor of the snow, as well as the body heat of the animal, really keeps them warm. Of course, also, they want to be as inactive as possible during cold weather, and that's the way they conserve body heat and energy. And of course, all of that's quite a balance out here. We're feeding them, they're reserving their energy, we're not having them expend any more energy than they have to, so therefore they helps them to survive the winter.
Today, more than 2 million visitors come to Grand Teton National Park each year to gaze at the awesome architecture of one of nature's true masterpieces and experience the special serenity and solitude that are the gifts of the mountains. Perhaps because human beings were so long in coming to this wonderland, there is an especially profound respect for nature here. In these mountains and in this valley, a remarkable variety of wildlife can be seen and appreciated. In this haven, there is an opportunity to rekindle awareness of the infinite beauty and importance of all wild places. If the Teton Range epitomizes the mythical qualities of great mountains, then Glacier National Park is the essence of wilderness. Nestled along the Canadian border in the northwest corner of Montana, Glacier is immediately adjacent to Canada's Waterton Lakes National Park. Together, they form the Glacier-Waterton International Peace Park, the first two-nation park in the world. Their combined area of more than 1 million acres offers a panorama of natural beauty that is unrivaled in North America, and perhaps in all the world. Glacier is named for the ancient rivers of ice that sculpted its distinctive mountains and valleys into a vast, unspoiled sanctuary, rugged, diverse, and wild. Here, the natural order remains largely undisturbed by man. To be in Glacier is to be in the domain of nature.
We are a natural national park, and it is the natural things that are the most important. It is here that animals have a chance, as does the forest, to come back to life. Not just four-legged animals, but two-legged animals as well. And that is probably the real value of Glacier and so many of our national park areas. It gives us a chance to come back to life in a world where this opportunity does not exist in so many places.
Like Grand Teton National Park, Glacier is a place of mountains. But in contrast to the Tetons that rise so abruptly from the valley below, the mountains of Glacier are everywhere. They are not merely features on the landscape, they are the landscape itself.
The mountains are very sacred to us. It's like walking into a Catholic cathedral. You can feel the power, the spiritual power in there. We went in there to pray and seek those powers what the Great Spirit gave us.
It is fitting that the natural wonders of Glacier are made accessible to visitors primarily because of a man-made wonder almost as remarkable as the park itself. The Going to the Sun Road offers one of the most scenic rides in North America. Completed in 1932, it had taken 16 years to build. An army of men, using mostly hand tools and dynamite, created a 52-mile masterpiece of engineering and imagination. The only paved road that crosses the entire park. Its winding course reveals the diverse splendors of Glacier. From the serenity of sparkling mountain lakes to the spectacular vistas at the crest of the continent, the Going to the Sun Road is a zigzag pathway through a wilderness paradise. From the west entrance to the park, the road hugs the shore of Lake McDonald at the foot of the rugged Livingston Range. 10 miles long and more than 400 feet deep, McDonald is the largest of more than 200 lakes within the park's boundaries. At the lake's north end, the imposing profile of Mount Vaught rises like a massive guardian of the valleys beyond. These mountain barriers can create weather changes that sometimes develop with dramatic swiftness. The lakes of Glacier offer a variety of recreational pastimes, but by far the most popular is hiking. With more than 700 miles of trails, Glacier is a hiker's dream. From rugged backcountry expeditions to leisurely strolls on well-marked paths, Glacier beckons to pedestrians of every type. One of the most popular treks begins at the Trail of the Cedars. The half-mile trail winds through a lush forest of cedar and hemlock, so dense and green that it feels primeval. Of all the trees in America, the fragrant red cedar is exceeded in girth only by the giant sequoia. Beneath this towering cathedral canopy, a carpet of moss and sumptuous ferns blankets the forest floor. Near Avalanche Gorge, the water ouzel, or dipper, leaves its waterside nest to pursue a morning meal. The ouzel plunges into the stream like an avian scuba diver and strolls along the bottom, overturning rocks in search of insect larvae and other delicacies. At the end of the Trail of the Cedars, the hiker's reward is Avalanche Lake. Its deep, peaceful waters invite quiet contemplation. Glacier offers stunning new vistas around every turn in the road or trail. Waterfalls are everywhere, but their exact number is impossible to determine, since so many appear as the snowpack melts in the spring, only to disappear when the moisture ebbs away. The Going to the Sun road climbs steeply as it nears Logan Pass, at an elevation of 6,680 feet. The pass marks the dividing line not only of the park, but of a continent, because Logan Pass is on the Continental Divide. From the divide, the journey of every drop of water is ordained, either moving west to the Pacific or east to the Atlantic via the Gulf of Mexico. But in this superlative park, even something as definitive as the Continental Divide gets a special twist. Near Logan Pass is Triple Divide Peak. This three-sided mountain is unique in the United States because it channels water not only to the east and west, but to the north as well. Thus, water from Glacier National Park's northeast corner flows to Hudson Bay, and finally to the frozen water of the Arctic Ocean. In these highlands, the alpine environment supports a surprising variety of fauna and flora. More than 1,000 species of plants are found in Glacier. One of the most striking is bear grass. The official flower of the park, bear grass, was named by Captain Meriwether Lewis of the Lewis and Clark expedition when he saw grizzly bears in a field of the unusual blooms. Bear grass is actually a misnomer. The plant is a member of the lily family. For a few short weeks in summer, The meadows of Glacier's high country are awash with color as a profusion of wildflowers bloom, including monkey flowers, Indian paintbrush, and glacier lilies. As in all wild places, the story of Glacier is a story of water and weather, the two forces that control the life cycles of the park. Doug Follett, who was born in Glacier country, has been a ranger naturalist in the park for 30 years. He's lived with Glacier's changing weather patterns all of his life.
The weather situation in Glacier National Park is a part of the split personality of Glacier. The west side of Glacier Park is dominated by Old Mother West Wind's little breezes that bring us our weather by the hour, the day, and the year. We are totally controlled and dominated here by Pacific Coast weather patterns that come in, as you can tell, by the minute. It is a world of a lot of moisture, a lot of rain and a lot of snow, but basically a stable world without too much wind. Here we might have snow so deep that you have to shovel down to find the doorknob on the cabin, but that snow is steady. And that's far more than you can say about the east side of Glacier Park, where they are dominated by winds that come out of the Arctic sometimes at 100 miles an hour.
Glacier's winter winds can sometimes change the temperature almost 100 degrees overnight, from 40 above zero during a January warm spell to 40 or 50 below the next day. Within Glacier's weather cycles, winter is unquestionably the most dominant force, lasting up to 8 months each year in the park's higher elevations. Every creature in the park must adapt to the season's demands. For Glacier's wildlife, the coming of winter signals the beginning of a life and death struggle. While every glacier winter is long and difficult, some are more difficult than others. The severity of each winter impacts the high-stakes game of survival for predator and prey alike. Harsh winters favor the predator because their prey have greater difficulty finding food, which makes them weaker and more vulnerable. On the other hand, mild winters favor the prey. With more food available to maintain their strength, they are better equipped to elude their would-be killers. For some species, survival means departure. Migratory birds leave the park altogether. They follow ancient flyways to the south in a ritual that has been repeated for thousands of years. The majestic bighorn sheep make a less dramatic migration, descending from their high summer range on the mountain slopes in order to winter at lower elevations. Here, powerful Arctic winds clear enough of the snow to permit winter grazing. But there is a trade-off. The same winds that uncover their winter forage are also bitterly cold and howl frequently throughout the winter months. In contrast, the sure-footed mountain goat stays in the highlands year-round. Insulated by a thick winter coat, the mountain goat subsists on vegetation that clings to cliff edges where the snow doesn't accumulate as deeply as it does in other areas. By staying at these upper elevations, the mountain goat is virtually free from predators. Wolf, coyote, and mountain lion cannot withstand the extreme winter conditions of the high mountains. Camouflage is the survival mechanism of the white-tailed ptarmigan. With the coming of winter, its plumage turns from a mottled brown to a snowy white, making it almost invisible against the winter blanket of the highlands. In addition, the ptarmigan grows feathers over its feet, a sort of built-in snowshoe that enables it to walk easily on top of the snow. For other species, food storage is the key to winter survival. Like a tiny lumberjack, the red squirrel spends the brief summer season cutting down small conifer cones, which it then stores in its winter refuge. With its food supply secured, it passes the winter in relative comfort and safety. Hibernation is the survival technique used by several other species, including the marmot, the chipmunk, and the golden-mantled ground squirrel. These animals feed continuously during the spring and summer, building up a thick layer of fat that sustains them through a long winter's sleep. Perhaps the best-known hibernating animal is the grizzly bear. However, there is some controversy as to whether the grizzly is a true hibernator, because sometimes the grizzly rouses from its slumbers and can be seen plowing through the endless snows. Because of its prodigious power and size, the grizzly has been feared and even despised by man. By the late 1800s, the grizzly had been hunted to the brink of extinction in the lower 48 states. Though its range has been drastically diminished throughout this century, an isolated population of grizzlies remains in Glacier country. To the resident Native American tribes, this magnificent bear is more than a symbol. It is a teacher.
The bear is also very sacred to us in a lot of senses. His ability of hunting, his ability of collecting and storing. He'd hide different things and come back after them. Well, the Indians also did those techniques as they went along. We learned from him how to dig the roots which used in the different medicines of healing. And by watching the bear dig up these roots along our ancestors a long, long time ago, got themselves familiarized with the techniques of digging roots and using them as medicine, as the bear did.
Park authorities go to great lengths to assure a safe relationship between Glacier's bears and park visitors.
We like to say that we don't have bad animals here, we have bad situations. And probably the situation that we are most concerned about is surprising a mother bear with cubs, because it is in that first year that the mother bears lose their sense of humor temporarily, and they think that that little bundle of fur and claws that they raised in that cave, or gave birth to in that cave in the wintertime, is just the most wonderful thing that the Great Spirit ever put on the face of this earth. Now that's the first year. The second year, she's beginning to notice characteristics of the father's side of the family, and she's not sure what she saw in him in the first place. The third year, they're teenagers, and like all mothers with teenagers, she's about ready to boot them out anyway, and she's not half as fussy as she was in the first place. But we never know which one of the years it's going to be, so surprise is the big thing we want to eliminate on the trails.
Today, Glacier provides sanctuary for approximately 200 grizzlies, and this stable population represents an important wildlife success story. But an even more encouraging chapter in this story of predator survival concerns the wolf.
In Glacier Park, as with other parts of the West, hired professional hunters were put on the payrolls to eliminate many of these predatory animals, and they were effective to the point where wolves virtually disappeared in Glacier. There were always reports of an occasional lone wolf here and there throughout our history, but the old wolf packs disappeared maybe 75 years ago, if not earlier. And it's only recently that they have returned. In the last 6 or 8 years, new wolf packs have regenerated here. The seeds for those packs came down to us from across the line in British Columbia.
The return of the wolf is an important ecological development in Glacier. These efficient predators are a vital link in the park's ecosystem and serve as an important control mechanism for the populations of their prey. If one could follow the trail of the wolf and the grizzly and the other great predators of Glacier, the journey would lead far from civilization and deep into the wilderness. And while the Going to the Sun Road offers countless scenic wonders, the true spirit of Glacier can be discovered in its back country. It would take several lifetimes to see all of the park's treasures, but a few days or even a few hours with a map, a backpack, and an appetite for adventure is perhaps the best way to experience Glacier's true magnificence. The place names of Glacier are like an index of the human history of the park. The lakes, mountains, canyons, waterfalls, even some of the plants and animals had names bestowed by a long procession of human inhabitants. Glaciers named Jackson, Sperry, and Grinnell. Mountains named Stanton, Sentinel, Custer, and Singleshot. The names tell of heroes, villains, pioneers, entrepreneurs, and renegades, some well-known, others lost in the mists of history. They came to Glacier to make a new life, or perhaps to escape an old one. Regardless of their dreams or their delusions, they found in Glacier a wilderness that could never truly be conquered. There are other names in Glacier, names bequeathed by some of the area's earliest inhabitants. Two Medicine Lake, Wolftail, Squaw Mountain, Two Dog, Mad Wolf. The Native American names for the wonders of Glacier are both descriptive and evocative. On the east side of Glacier, there is a mountain called Curly Bear. The mountain is the namesake for Curly Bear Wagner, cultural coordinator for the Blackfeet Indian Reservation.
We've lived here, they figure, from 50 to 60,000 years that we've been inhabited of this land, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Montana region. And we were a very warlike people. We were known as the Lords of the Plains. We would go to battle with anybody that came into our hunting boundaries, and our hunting boundaries consisted from the Rocky Mountain front almost to the Dakota border down to the Yellowstone.
The region that is today Glacier National Park is not only the ancestral home of the Blackfeet Nation, it also continues to be an important part of the tribe's spiritual life. From their reservation, immediately adjacent to the park's eastern border, the Blackfeet frequently travel to ancient sacred sites within the park. The most important one is Chief Mountain.
Chief Mountain, we've been using Chief Mountain as a sacred site known as a sacred site for over 2,000 years. And it is like a warrior leading the other mountains into battle. And so it is a chief in its own sense, our people felt. So with that, people went and seek the vision from the mountain for the power and the spirituality that the mountain carries with itself. They go up there and they fast for 4 days and 4 nights with no food nor water. They go up there and they seek dreams of a dream maybe of healing or of a power to go to war. All dances that were given to the Blackfeet were handed down through such as what happened in the vision quests. These things have been handed down through generation for thousands and thousands of years. Their purpose is coming together as a group and sharing with others. It's a happy event. It's nothing of sadness. This practice goes on even today amongst our people.
Native Americans were the sole human inhabitants of Glacier Country until the latter part of the 19th century. Although a handful of trappers and traders had come through the territory, it wasn't until 1889 that an apparent discovery of mineral deposits on the east side of the Continental Divide spurred an influx of prospectors. Their dreams of mineral wealth were never realized, but Glacier had been discovered. In 1891, after the Great Northern Railway completed the construction of the transcontinental route over Marias Pass, the accessibility of Glacier increased dramatically. The area quickly became an exotic vacation destination for wealthy Easterners. In 1910, President William Howard Taft signed legislation that brought Glacier into the national park system, preserving this wilderness sanctuary for all time. In 1932, a grassroots effort by the Rotary Clubs of Montana and the Canadian province of Alberta led to the creation of the Waterton Glacier International Peace Park.